Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Do's and Don'ts of Sinning. My name is Matthew.
And I'm Joslyn.
And today it's going to be a tipsy talk about the wake-up call we all need to hear.
Yeah, so basically, he doesn't like you.
Yes, and the signs you need to fucking listen and see, wake up and smell the roses, because it's right in front of your face. Just fucking...
Stop being ignorant. Stop being naive. He doesn't like you.
Stop being in denial.
You need to let it go.
Oh, this is delicious. Have you ever tried this?
No, let me try.
I'm drinking a Princess Yum Yum Raspberry Kolsch from Denver Beer Company. And Joslyn's drinking a White Claw.
Oh, it smells like shit.
It's good, though. It's sweet. You don't...
Oh my...
It's not that bad. It's good.
Oh
it's
my...
got real raspberries in it.
Holy shit, that is horrible.
It's delicious.
I'm drinking a raspberry...
I'm drinking a raspberry
I
White
promise
Claw.
this is my first one. I'm drinking... I literally have had no alcohol today.
Honestly.
Matthew can attest that I'm drinking a raspberry White Claw because I have taste.
Oh my god. Mine's a Kolsch. I don't know what kind of beer that is, but it's elite. I don't know. So the wake-up call you need to hear. Signs are right in front of you. Just fucking open your eyes. Take a step back. They always say like third-party view. If you're
Take
in
the
like
love
a
blinders off.
Exactly. Take the rose-colored glasses off. Step out.
Step out.
Disassociate a bit. Just a tiny bit. And just like look at your situation you're in from an outside perspective.
Yes.
Because when you're in a relationship or you're in like an argument or anything, you're in it. And that's why you need to rather like ask somebody else for their opinion or try to be like, okay, like
Consult
let me
a
step
friend,
out.
Phone a friend.
Always. And then just step out. Try to think of it. If this was like your friend and this was happening on the outside, what would you think?
Right. So I think a lot of times too, whenever people are so alone and they feel so lonely with themselves, then they turn to like dating apps or finding a man.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they think that's going to like solve all their problems and
Right,
everything is going to be like kumbaya and like whatever.
Right.
And then whenever they get in a situation with a man and they have this like idea made up in their head about how, oh, this is perfect. He's just what I've been looking for. And it's like, yeah, sometimes it can go that way, but at the same time, are you getting wrapped up too quickly?
Exactly.
Are you looking past red flags because you are just afraid of being alone?
Exactly. Like,
so, like,
people always think that you need to find like your other half. No, you need to find your other 100%.
Right, your other whole.
Yeah, exactly. You can't be like a 50% of a person.
Your partner.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't be half and looking for your other half to complete you. A relationship should be bonus. Like you should be able to live without your significant other.
So like I don't remember who told me. It might have been my mom. It might have been somebody else. But somebody once told me, they said the way that you should look at a relationship is what are you going to contribute to my life that I don't already give myself.
Exactly, yes.
Because like in my situation, I brought it up before and I'll bring it up again.
Right.
I pay my own bills. I do my own thing. I have my own job. I take care of myself.
Exactly.
In every way.
Yeah, exactly.
And
you're like, I don't need no man to satisfy me. I can get that at $50 at Fascinations with my magic wand. I need you to figure my body out from 0%.
Literally. So like I can give myself everything that I need. So like what are you bringing to the picture?
Exactly.
That's going to be us.
Yeah, that needs to be more than what I can do for myself. Yeah.
Right. So leading into that, okay, so picture this. You start talking to this guy. You immediately feel a connection. You had a great first date, maybe even a great second date. Things are going really well in your mind and whatever. And then he starts to distance himself.
Right.
And you stop hearing from him. And maybe he's leaving you unread. Or
right.
you feel
You're
like
texting first too many times.
Right. Or you feel like he's not putting in the same effort. Plain and simple, he's just not that into you.
Exactly. It's so much more obvious, and it's hard to like let it go because it's just sprouting and you want to water it, you want to fertilize it, you want to make sure that it grows. But it's like if he's not going to text you after a week of knowing you, then it's done. I always give a lot of guys that test, rather like subconsciously or consciously, where I'll just like not text them because I forgot or just whatever. I'm not feeling to talk to somebody for a day.
Right.
But if then like the next day goes by and then the next and he's not texting me back either, and I'm not texting him, clearly it wasn't like sparking or whatever.
So maybe the way that people should look at it is like, if I don't start a conversation, there probably won't be one.
Exactly.
So maybe if you think along those lines, you'll stop putting in effort that's not getting reciprocated.
Exactly.
So I don't know. My thing is like, if you can go 3 days without talking to me, why don't you go a couple fucking more?
Exactly.
Because if you can go that long without talking to me, then you're clearly not that serious about me and you and us and what we have going here.
Right.
Because you should never have to ask a man to communicate with you. He should willingly be giving that to you. Yeah, because
that's like key. Communication is key. And like, how are you gonna stem a relationship or even like a friendship or anything without talking to the person and sharing information,
whether it's good or
and
bad,
getting to know each other? Yeah, exactly. It's like, people shouldn't hold like secrets above your head, acting like it's some treasure and key to get to know you. And it's like, no, you shouldn't do that, because then you're holding back for some obvious reason.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense. And it's like, yeah, if he's clearly not texting you back, if he's not trying to advance a relationship, like, you're supposed to like go milestones. Like, you start talking on Tinder, maybe he asks for your phone number or your Snapchat, then you give it to them. But like, if then it doesn't evolve like further, if like he doesn't ask for your Snapchat and you're texting on Tinder for like 2 weeks, where are you going?
Yeah, what's going on?
And it's like, if then you ask him, and if he's hesitant about it, or I've had guys where I'm like, hey, what's your Snapchat or phone number so we can get off Tinder? Ghost.
Yeah.
So clearly, one, he's not interested. Or if you're just talking on Tinder forever, it's like, clearly maybe you don't even want to evolve the relationship because you're waiting for him to do it.
Right.
Or he just doesn't want to evolve it and he's just waiting for it to fizzle out.
I think also some like telltale signs in my book that he's not just not interested is just like the texting, like we said. Like, if he can go hours or days or even weeks without texting you, kick that motherfucker to the curb.
Exactly.
People. Like, why are you wasting your time on somebody that won't even give you 10% of their time?
Exactly. Like, people will make time for something that's important to them.
Right.
And that's what I wholeheartedly believe, especially after like getting to the texting, like the actual phone number, Snapchatting.
Right.
Like, where you get kind of more serious into like talking. And if you're like, oh, do you want to hang out this week? And they're like, oh, I'm so busy with work. And you're like, okay. You're like, what about next week? Are you free? And they're like, oh, well, I have Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Right.
They're not making time for you. Because, yeah, some people are super busy.
And we're not
I fully get it.
And we're not saying that somebody needs to make you the top priority in their life, because that's a little, like, especially in the early stages of talking in a relationship.
But, like, an hour or two at lunch, what are you wasting?
Try to fit somebody in anywhere that you can get it.
Yeah, and it's like, if you're not really feeling the relationship or whatever, and you're not wanting to like evolve them and go see them or whatever, then what's the point of continuing talking to them? That's what I also hate, is when I'm like asking somebody to like text and like, oh, I'm trying to like hang out with them and see them outside of texting. Gross, excuse me.
Hot.
I know. And they're like saying they're so busy this week, they're so busy next week, or they can't, or they're like canceling plans or whatever, but then they're continuing to Snapchat and text me a lot.
Right.
I'm like, what's your game plan here? Like, what are you thinking?
Right.
Because like, I mean, sometimes I'll like go like weeks or like maybe a month without like first meeting somebody or whatever, just by like timing. Sometimes my schedule's truly so busy or I'm just not feeling it. But it's like, after some time, he's clearly not that into you. And you maybe not be clearly that much into him because you're not trying the like extra steps. So then it's just not worth it. Like, what's the point?
Right. So like, too, like another sign that has happened in my life, like, again, touching on they won't make time for you, or they're not willing to make time for you or whatever. So like, one of my boyfriends, he would hit me up and he would take me on dates every chance he got, and then a boyfriend after that wouldn't even do that. Like, he wouldn't compliment me. I would like have to pry a compliment out of him, and I'm not like necessarily fishing for compliments. I'm just saying, like one time I went over there and I was like, I like my makeup was done, I did it differently that day, my hair was like cute and natural, I bought a new shirt, like I was feeling myself, it was a cute day, it was a nice summer day, whatever. And I was like, I feel really beautiful today. And he was like, stop fishing for compliments.
And it's like, no.
First of all, part of your job as a fucking boyfriend is to compliment your female as if she's the only... I shouldn't say that. Female.
But it's kind of true.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to learn to not say that word.
You should try to compliment your girlfriend or boyfriend, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to hype up your significant other.
Whether your love language is words of affirmation or not. You fucking speak out about things that you feel like they need to hear, whether it's like one of your love languages or not. So like, simple as that. Like, I'm just going to tell you right now, if you're not getting what you need out of a relationship, leave him.
Exactly.
Don't
if you're not
settle.
if your forms of love language aren't matching up, and you want communication or you want compliments and physical touch and he's not game for it or whatever, then first of all, you shouldn't be getting further into the relationship
Right.
because clearly you're not a match.
Which, to clarify, we're not saying that you need to have the exact same love languages as your partner.
But
That's
the person,
not what we're saying.
you both need to evolve.
Right. So, like for example, if Matthew and I were in a relationship and his love languages were gifts and words of affirmation and mine were physical touch and words of affirmation, obviously we're going to align on the ones that we have the same.
Yeah.
But if his is gifts and mine is not, then I'm going to show him my love by surprising him with something.
Exactly,
and
because
he's
that's the
gonna
whole
show
point.
his love by touching me, even though that's not his and gifts are not mine.
Yeah, even
you
if
compromise
right?
and pull through for your significant other.
Exactly. Like if you're in a relationship with somebody who loves video games and you've never been in it in your life, and he's been talking about a video game that he really wants to buy and he just like hasn't bought it for some reason, you go and buy it for him.
Right.
Because it's like, one, you're not into it, but he's into it. You're doing those gifts of affirmation or that physical touch for them.
Right.
Because that's why you're in a relationship, is to be there for them.
For your significant other. Exactly.
You're supposed to, it's like a partnership. You're supposed to help them out. They help you out, kind of stuff. Like,
What
it's
are some-
symbiotic.
What are some signs that you think that he's just not that into you?
Just like low level texting, low level communication, not wanting to like advance things. Like a lot of people like, good signs are like, oh, they'll be like, what's your Instagram? Or like, what's your, like, they're asking, they want to get to
They're
know
like
you.
involved.
Yeah, they're involved. They're like, oh, like, where were you born? And stuff like that. Oh, like, I would love. And they like remember things too. Like a good sign is like remembering. A bad sign's not. Like I would say a bad sign because they're just not caring. They're not dedicating memory and space to you.
I think
so if the same person asks me like the same questions all the time, like over time span, I'm like, are you even paying the fuck attention to me?
Another thing too is I think that nowadays people try to rush into things when they need to take their time.
Yeah, we talked about
So,
this.
like,
Relationship spans nowadays are like
Right.
compressed.
Part of the whole relationship
experience
is the journey. Okay,
Exactly.
so like, why don't you just take your fucking time?
Exactly.
Enjoy the dates, enjoy the talking, enjoy the company, and then maybe if you DTR and you're official, enjoy that time. Don't give yourself a timeline that you need to abide by.
Exactly.
Because like I know people that are like, I need to be married by 25, I need kids by 29.
It's like that's not how it works.
No, that's not how it works. You need to just go with the flow and go down the path that's
because that's how
calling
you
your
get stuck
name.
with a bad relationship. You're
Right.
23, you realize 25's 2 years later, and you're like,
what is wrong with you?
I'm very burpy. It's beer. It's carbonation. And then you get stuck in a bad relationship because you feel like you need to compress the timeline. You need to like move in. You need to get engaged because like 25's right on the corner.
And then you're gonna
but
end
then you
up
get stuck with a
settling.
terrible guy,
Right.
Because you didn't take the couple months or whatever to get to know them. You weren't engaged for like a year to really enjoy it. You didn't move in and live together and then get married. No, you got married, you had a kid, you moved in together, and then it's just clash because you don't understand each other at the level that you should. So like I fully agree with like the olden time relationship lifespan where it's like you're dating, you're not like so official for a couple weeks, maybe a month, and then you become official, and then you guys date for like 6+ months,
Right.
And then you start to think about like moving in together after like a year.
Right.
Maybe you move in together, you guys live a couple months or whatever, or like a year, and then maybe like you get engaged, and then people usually stay engaged for like a year.
Yeah, or two.
Yeah, a year or two, and then you get married, and then you move into like a house together, and then you start planning a kid.
Right.
That's a very healthy, attractive timeline in my mind.
Me too.
Because like with the relationship I've had in my past, and I've seen a lot of people nowadays, it's quick. It's like you start talking, then within weeks you're DTR'd, and then within weeks you're like moving in, or they're basically at your place all the time, and then like months later you're already trying to move in with them, and it's like you just met this person.
It just seems
6 months ago. Why are you trying to live with them? It seems too express.
Right. It seems too sped up for me because I'm gonna take my time because listen,
it's honeymoon, it's infatuation.
Right. It is. It's lust, not love.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Which
I
is
think
one of the 7 deadly sins. That's number 1, everybody. Lust.
I think too that people just want to get to the marriage. They want to get to the happily
They
ever
want to get to the
after.
bliss, but it's like you have to take healthy steps to get there, because if you don't, you end up in an abusive ass relationship.
Right.
You get beat the fuck down.
Right.
And then you get divorced.
Like,
First-hand knowledge. Thank you, everybody.
You heard it here first, folks.
Honestly.
But no, like, I think that at the end of the day, girls get too wrapped up in anybody that shows
Even
them
boys,
attention.
even some boys or whatever, they just like, especially like maybe in the gay community, or at least from what I've known, that like we're not as prevalent, at least my generation, like a little bit younger than me, there's more gay people, it's more accepted, there's more like in high school and stuff. But for like me and a lot of my generation or whatever, I feel, and plus it's like you're the only gay dude in high school.
Right.
So you're like not getting that like love, like those relationships in middle school and high school. So when you like jump in, that's one of the attributing factors I say to my marriage or whatever, is because he was the first person that suited after me.
Right.
Like he was the first person that wanted me and acted on it and was like complimenting me, texting first, like he was wanting me. And that was like, oh my God, I've never felt this before. It's fucking Cinderella and shit, you know? So that's why I feel like a lot of at least young gay people.
And, like, not to sound, like, all holier than thou, because I've been there several times of trying to jump into something that maybe I'm not ready for, they're not ready for, or I'm just doing it because I'm lonely and I need, like, somebody to fill a void that's in my life. And I've been there and I've done that, and I'm trying to work on doing that and, like, remaining, like, aloof and, like, hard to get and stuff, because part of it is the chase and everything like that. And I feel like I know so many people that they go on one date and they're like, yeah, I really liked him. I really connected with him. I think this is it. I think he's the guy, whatever.
And it's like,
they go on one more date. They DTR. They're together for like 6 months and then they break up. And it's like, calm down. It probably would have lasted longer if you weren't to jump into it.
Yeah, if you
so
went
fast.
on like 3, 4, 5 dates or whatever over like maybe 2-3 months span or whatever, then you would have got to know them. Then you would have spent the night. Maybe woke up, got breakfast or whatever, then gone out on like a weekend vacation or whatever as like a date, and then it like builds.
Right.
It's not like jumping steps, you're slowly climbing the stairs.
Right.
Exactly.
Not only that, but let's talk about sex on the first date.
We've talked about this a little bit before, and I mean, I'm not...
Let's talk more into it about jumping into quickly in terms of jumping into.
I feel in my experience, I feel like burns you out. Very much so, because it's like there's no like holding back. Like Pretty Woman, the movie. She doesn't kiss him for like 4 days, but still, that's like basic end of date, like first night kiss or whatever. Right. And like holding something so small, like even like holding hands or whatever for like a week, that like holds on to like the not getting burnt out.
Right.
So like I feel like sex on the first date, I'm not opposed to it, clearly. But I feel like it just burns you out.
I agree.
Like you hang out, you go to dinner, you see a movie, you walk around town, whatever, go home, sex. Where's the wait?
Right.
Where's the chase?
Right.
Where's the build up to it? Because like you just met this asshole 14 hours ago.
Right.
And you're already waking up in his bed. It's like not shaming. I've done it. I'll probably do it again.
I've done it as well.
I'll probably do it again. But I feel like not holding out on it, but waiting for the right time is more appropriate.
I think that giving a man your vagina is part of the chase. So like the longer you wait, I'm not saying wait like a year to like have sex with this person, but I'm saying like if you give it up on the first date, then what else does he have to look forward to? And I know that sounds kind of bitchy and like judgy a little bit, which I'm not judging the people that sleep on the first date. If you go into it knowing I'm going to sleep with him on the first date, I don't give a fuck what happens after that.
Power move it.
Right. Whether he wants to stay, whether with me, whether he doesn't, whether whatever it may be.
Exactly.
So like if it ends up being a situation like that, more power to you. Good for you. Power move it. Like
exactly,
you said.
Yeah.
But like I think if you maybe do like 10 date rule, like 10 dates over the span of like 2 months or something, then give it some time and then give in. Yeah. And maybe in between that, you don't have to give up everything. Like you can make out and stuff and maybe like get into some other stuff. But
just like, because if you jump from step 1 to step 5, then like the time period between naturally going from step 1 to step 5 is like plateauing. Because you're just sitting, you've already had sex, you've already done everything, and then it's just kind of stagnant, like beep, until you go to the next level.
Right.
So it's kind of like that, not boring, but it's like, and then like a lot of people nowadays, like hookup culture is so prevalent.
Right.
Like if you sleep on the first date, maybe they're like, oh, got off. Yeah. Nah, I'm not really into it because you didn't get the chase. You didn't get the like back and forth pit pattery and stuff like that. You didn't get to enjoy the like dates and the third date and like the first, second,
just
and stuff
enjoy
like
the
that.
time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like no shame on like first date sex, but it's like I feel like it would be like longer dates or whatever, or you get to know them better, because then there's no connection. It's bad sex.
Right.
Like hookup sex is sex.
One
Getting off.
one night stands, horrible.
Exactly. But if you like wait, you get a connection, you get to learn their modes of love and stuff. You get to see that they want more touch, they want communication, they're into BDSM or whatever.
Right.
On a first night hookup, have you done BDSM on a first night hookup? Like mildly, but not like to the level of like where you're super comfortable.
No.
Exactly. So it's like you're not getting the best experience
I tell
out of a
people
one
all
night.
the time, relationship sex is the best sex. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You can fucking fight me all day on that. Relationship sex is the best sex.
Yeah, because you know
have
each
the
other, you have the
passion
connection,
and the love and
the mental connection,
exactly.
and that's what makes sex so much
so
better.
like one night stand sex sucks, and then you have like relationship sex, which is one step above, which is better than a lot of things, and then you have like sex with the person that you are madly in love with, and when you're in love with somebody, the sex is next level. So I think if you just like take your time and wait it out maybe a little bit, and then you know, test the waters, whatever, and then you get into it, I think that it's going to be more beneficial to you and the other person if you wait just a little bit more time than you normally would. And like I said, I'm not saying to wait like I'm not even saying to wait like 6 months, but maybe give it like 2 to 3 months, or however long you feel comfortable.
Exactly.
If you're a second date type person, whatever. If you're like a 2-month span person and then you want to give it up, that's fine too.
And if you really feel that connection, you're going to like 3-4 dates in a week or whatever, then for sure. It's every relationship steps differently, and every relationship is growing and developing differently, but there's a timeline for everything, and there's milestones. Just like learning, or like a kid growing up or whatever, can't speed that shit up, but some kids are quicker, some kids are slower, so it's just like it's depending on your relationship,
and I'm a firm believer that every relationship has its own timeline.
Exactly.
Because like, for example, my cousin and his wife were together for like 11 years, had a kid, and then got married.
Exactly.
And they're fine.
Exactly.
And then
my sister's like has a kid, and they've been together, they've lived together, the kid's like 11 or something, and they're still not married.
And then you have my sister, who she has known her boyfriend for like 2 years. And then they have a kid and they're madly in love.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter the timeline. Whatever you think the timeline of your relationship is what it should be.
Exactly. You shouldn't be trying to compare yourself to other relationships. You shouldn't be trying to get to the next level because you want to just get to the blissful relationship. You don't want to be
white picket fence and the whatever.
You don't want to be in boyfriend and girlfriend land or whatever if the journey there wasn't worth it, because it's like that's half the relationship is the journey. It's like getting to know each other, going on dates, being silly, goofy, going on those stupid dates to like go mini golf or something like that.
And I'm not gonna lie too, is like there's, like I said, there's been times where I've given it up on the first date, and I do regret that, because I don't want to look at it as time wasted, but like I'm raising a body count for what?
Exactly.
Like, and to some people, body counts don't matter, and to me, they don't really matter. But I mean, in a sense, they do.
Yeah.
So
the number doesn't matter. How you got there does in my mind, because it's like if you've had 36 relationships and you're 25, sure, whatever. But if it's like you're at like 76 or something, and you're like 25,
and they're all one night stands,
it's it's a little. It just shows more about like the ethics and the like relationship about you. It's like, how did you get here? Like, how's the journey? Like, how did you get here? Because that's so much more important. Like, the person is important in their number or their journey or whatever, but like how they got there explains so much.
So like there has been guys that I've talked to, and I talked to them for a little bit, I went on dates with them, whatever, and I ended up not hooking up with them, and it ended up not working. And now looking back, I'm so glad I didn't sleep with them, because why would I want to share my body and share myself to that level with somebody who isn't going to stay in my life and isn't going to deserve it or appreciate it?
Exactly, 100%.
Destiny always gave me like some really good advice when I was hooking up with one of the guys that I met at the bar. We didn't like hook up on the first night or anything. We like met, talked a little bit, semi-dated, I guess. And then we were just kind of like a friends with benefits situation. But Destiny told me, like, first night that, because she was there when we ran into him at the bar. That was the second time I ran into him. Mm-hmm. And she told me, she was like, granted, we were drunk, but, like, drunk words, sober thoughts.
Exactly.
I don't know.
You won't say anything or do anything that you won't do sober. It just helps you get to that level.
So anyways, she told me, she was like, you need to be with somebody that is gonna you need to be with somebody that's gonna love you when you're breaking down, mascara running down your face because you can't get your hair right in the morning to go to work. Yeah. You need somebody to love you then, but you also need somebody to love you when you're completely stable, going out with your friends, looking like a fucking 10.
Exactly.
A bad bitch. And you need somebody to love you at your best and your worst. Mm-hmm. And how are you going to get somebody like that if you just don't enjoy the fucking journey? Take a shot every time we say journey. Exactly. So you need somebody that's going to, like, ride or die with you, like, during that process before you just give them your all.
Especially, and like when you go on dates and stuff like that, that's a straight up infatuation, straight up lust, because you're looking your best, you're wearing your best outfit on this date, you're in your best, like, kindest manner and stuff, because when you're on dates, you're acting on T, you're acting the best. So it's like, is that person really liking you? Or are they liking first, second date you?
Right.
Because, like, not saying that, like, we're hiding things on your dates. Like, everyone does this. Like, you go on a first date and you proper.
Right.
You're not slouching. You're not doing this. You're putting on, like, your best face.
Right.
Because that's just what you want. It's proper. It's nice, like, manners and stuff. Because you're going on a first date. You want to be nice. You want to be cordial and stuff like that. So it's like, if they're sleeping with you on the first date, in a sense, they're sleeping with the first date you.
Right.
And so, like, if you, like, not hold out on sex just only, but, like, if you give it time, like, you go on 2-3 dates, then you do, like, a casual date where you go hiking or go to brunch. You're wearing, like, jeans and a t-shirt or whatever.
Casual.
Yeah, casual. Then you go to, like, a barbecue. You're more casual. You're more laid back. You invite them to your friend's place. They invite you over to yours. So you see all of their faces and all of their different versions of them.
Right.
And then they're getting to know more. They're filling the circle of who you are. So it's like, if they're, like, sleeping with you and you're jumping steps or whatever, it's like, who are they really getting to know? The proper first, second date you, or the true down and dirty mascara running down your neck?
Right.
Down your neck.
Literally.
Kind of version of you. It's like, who are they getting to know? Your proper version or you for you? I
just think, in my opinion, if you always give it up on the first date, then you might find yourself in situations where guys are not continuing to talk to you and give you the effort that you think you deserve.
Exactly.
And, like, you know, like, the perks of
being a wallflower.
Yeah. So I love that movie.
Cry every time.
Me too. If you haven't watched that movie, go check it out. Really fucking good. I think it's on Netflix. Anyways.
It's not.
It's on Hulu, though.
It is on Hulu. It's such a good movie.
Anyways, so, you know, like, when they say, like, you accept the love that you think you deserve.
I wholeheartedly believe that.
I agree. Yeah. Because, like, you know, I may accept love in a different way that you do because of how I grew up and the relationships that I've been in versus the relationships that you've been in and stuff. But I think that you can also break out of that cycle
100%.
And, like, up your standards.
Exactly,
and, like, expect more out of people. Yeah. And I think that you need to, like, realize when you're not... Granted, like we said in the very beginning, like, take a step back, look at it from a third party. If your friend was in the same relationship that you were in,
would you let them go through that?
Right. Would you tell him, like, hey, he's not good for you, he treats you like shit? Like, I see TikToks all the time that, like, there's a girl that's like, yeah, like, I woke up this morning and he brought me a glass of water that was sitting on his bedstand.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, it was warm water, but it was his favorite cup, and he doesn't give his favorite cup to anybody. And
yeah,
it's
and
like,
the friend's like,
why are you accepting
hot water?
Yeah, why are you accepting such low things?
Right, because she thinks she deserves that.
Right.
And that's what I wholeheartedly believe, and that's, like, from the past, like, relationship I had, like, with my divorce and stuff. Like, I kind of am still kind of trying to break out of it, but, like, the mindset of, like, what I should expect in, like, first dates and second dates or whatever is, like, wrong in a sense. Right. Because I'm accepting the compliments, or I'm accepting the kind of dudes or the love languages that I think I deserve as a piece of shit.
Right.
Pretty much so.
And that goes back to, like, our last episode that we recorded is, like, childhood trauma. It all stems from, like, you know, how you grew up, how you were raised, nature versus nurture, that sort of thing. Exactly. Whatever. So, like, I don't know. Maybe you need years of therapy to redo it.
Exactly. Hard to say.
But all I know is that, like, with each relationship, I grow and I know what I need out of the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you
like,
need to wake up, smell the roses after a relationship. You need to basically, like, read the book and learn from what just happened. Like, read the last chapter, read what happened with Jeremy, your last ex.
Right.
Learn it, diagnose yourself, move on, gain skill points.
And just, like, up your standards, seriously.
Exactly, yeah.
Because, I don't know. Like, if a man is giving you minimal effort, it's because he doesn't like you.
Yeah.
If a man likes you, he's going to do everything in his power to let you know that he likes it.
Exactly.
That he is interested and
exactly.
wants to be
He's
with
not
you.
going to one-word text. He's going to try to text you. He's going to try to get your phone number. He may even want to call you or whatever before meeting.
Right.
He
FaceTime,
wants to
whatever.
make the time for
Right.
you. People make the time for what they care about.
Exactly. People make the time for what they want to make the time about.
Exactly. He's going to want to ask you your interests. Like, you're going to be like, oh, I'm just watching TV. And it's like, oh, well, what are you watching? And you're going to be like, blah, 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 this movie. And he's like, I'll never see that. Maybe I'll check it out.
Right.
And then maybe 2 days later, he's like, I love that movie. Like, what's your favorite scene? And then you talk about it. Like, that's amazing signs. Like, if I tell somebody that I like a movie and they're like, oh, I've never seen it. And it's like, oh, well, you should check it out or whatever. And he's like, maybe I will. And then he watches it.
Right.
He's making the effort to get to know you, to understand through your eyes and stuff like that. And that's very, like, oof.
Just, like, more effort than some people put in.
Exactly. And it's like, if he's not trying to make effort, if he's not trying to, like, get to know you genuinely, he's not that into you.
Right. And it goes back to what I said is, like, you know, if it seems like you're putting in more effort than the other person, just leave. Just go.
Yeah, because why?
Why
are you putting more effort? Like, are you trying to save the relationship, or are you trying to, like feed a dying plant? It's like, what's the point? After a certain part, you do have to jump ship.
Exactly.
Because if you're texting first every day, if he's leaving you on red, if you're trying to Snapchat or call and he's not, like, trying to, like, continue the phone call, or if he's not trying to, like, see you again in the week or whatever. Right. And that's a good sign, like, after the first date, like, body language. Right. Like, signs he's not into you. Like, body language is very prevalent. Like, Google it, watch videos, take a psychology course, because that's saved. Like, because it's just little hints and stuff like that. And it's like body language, like how they're holding themselves. If they're, like, crossed arms, they're, like, closed off. If they're, like, leaning back in their chair, they're not interested in the conversation. If they're leaning forward, if their hands are on the table, they're showing, like, weakness. They're showing that their hands are empty. And that's literally a sign of weakness, because they don't have, like, a weapon. They don't have, like, fists. They don't have closed hands to, like, get up and go.
Right.
If, like, the girl, like, has her purse on her all the time, she's ready to dip.
Right.
But if she, like, takes it off, puts it down at, like, a bedside table, if you're at her place or whatever, or she takes her keys off, puts her phone down, takes her shoes off, she feels comfortable. She feels like she can spend some time there or whatever.
Right.
And it's like body language on, like, a first date. If you're at a restaurant, if they're, like, avoiding eye contact, if they're looking at the menu a lot, if they're looking at other people and stuff like that, if they're not attuned to, like, the symbiotic, like, energy that's going on in the date, they're not that into you. And at the end of the date, if you're at the end of the date, it's cliche, but you're like, oh, I'd love to see you again or something like that. If they're like, totally not that into you. But if you're like, oh, this was like your check out and you have no other plans, it's like 9:00, you're both going home, it's mentally there, and you're like, oh, I'd love to see you again, and they're like, yeah, totally, like, when are you available this week?
Right.
He's into you. He's making dates. And if you can make a date after, like, you can make a second date while still on the first date, clearly there's momentum going. It's a good sign. But if it's like, oh, thanks for, like, inviting me out to dinner, it was a great time, hug, bye. Right. Then it's like, ugh.
Probably the end of it. Yeah.
Probably. And then it's like, I think it's okay to text after the first date.
I think so,
How long do you wait? Or do you wait for the dude to do it? Because you are in a
sexual relationship?
Ish. You're heterosexual.
It depends. So if, like,
you have a movie dinner date, it's like 9:30, you're both like, hi, great date, goodbye, I'll, like, love to see you again. Yeah, let's try to link up again. Leave, car, park, drive home.
So, like, with T, not the T now, but the last T, whenever we got done with our first date, we had a movie, we had dinner and drinks, and then I went home after that.
Yeah.
And he was like, text me when you're home. And I made it home, and I was like, made it home. And he said something, and I left him on red. Yeah. And then he texted me again the next day, and he was like, I had a really good date. And then we got more into, like, how well the date went, our first impressions of one another. Right. And then it was kind of a mutual thing that we wanted to go on a second date. Exactly. But then, like, with Z, whenever we went on a first date, our first date was like 10 hours long.
Yeah, it was like all day.
It was like an all day thing. And then when he dropped me off at home, I was like, I had a really good time. I'd like to see you again. And he was like, me too. And I was like, okay, I'll let you know and text you. And then I waited for him to text.
Exactly, yeah. And for me, I feel for the last couple that I've remembered, I took them all to like the same place. It's called the Mining Exchange downtown. It's like a coffee shop. They serve alcohol at night. It's very like cafe bullshit. Because it's a good date. It's downtown. It's like interesting. They have coffee. They have tea. They have blah, blah, whatever. But the last couple that I've taken there or whatever will be like, oh, great to see you, blah. Like, oh, I like hope to see you again kind of stuff or whatever. Like, oh, yeah, I'll text you or whatever. And then my car driving, the last like 3, they've all texted me while I was in my car. So they got in their car and they were like, had a great time. And I think that's very acceptable.
I think so too.
I think that's super acceptable. If I didn't get a text like that, if I like drove home, I got home, changed into like basketball shorts, whatever, like turned on YouTube, I would text them then and stuff like that and be like, oh, it was a great time, like I loved the cafe you picked or whatever, like such a great movie, it was really nice to laugh with you or whatever, send. And if they're like, if they say the same kind of stuff like, oh yeah, it was a great time, I'd be like, oh well, when are you available next, like do you think we can catch another movie? And then like that. But if they're not like, if one, they don't respond ever, clearly he's not that into you. But if like you're texting like, oh, I had a great time, and he was like, yeah, it was good, like very bland, no salt, no pepper, bland.
Oh my God.
Then clearly he's not that into you, and don't try to push it. Because trying to push it rather will make him like, it'll create like a false reality. And then he'll like...
Oops, I accidentally created a false reality.
That's exactly what I thought. And it's like, yeah, if you keep pushing it and then you like not force him into another date, but you're like, oh, let's go out on this date. And he kind of is like, oh, okay. And then you keep going on dates. It's kind of like forced.
Right.
And stuff like that. So it's like you need to read into like their communication and their like body language at the end of the date. Because it's like small, minute signs. And some people just kind of coast. Right. Like they'll go on first date. It was like, okay. They'll be like, okay, maybe it was just first date nerves. Then they coast on the second date and then the third date. And it's just like you're basically subconsciously leading each other on. Right. Because there's no spark. You're just hoping that the like spark isn't coming and you're just waiting for the next date to spark it.
I think the spark thing is bullshit.
I think it is too. Because like, I mean, there's sparks like where I'm like, oh my God, we have so much in common, blah, blah, blah. But it's like a love spark.
No.
I don't believe it. I think it's like a small, like, kindling flame where you have to, like, rub the sticks together for hours. So, like,
another thing, too, is you know how people are like, I know you've probably done it yourself. I know I have, and then you've probably known people that do it. Like, he gives me butterflies. So, like, did you know that, like, that's not a good thing when you feel that?
Because that's called anxiety.
Yeah, you're not feeling butterflies. You're feeling anxiety. So if you feel quote-unquote butterflies...
On the first date? Duh. Who doesn't have butterflies on the first date?
I'm not talking about that. Yeah. I'm talking about, like, if you're in a relationship and you've been together for 4 months and he... Oh my God, he still gives me butterflies. That's not butterflies. That's anxiety. Yeah. You're afraid to talk to him because you're afraid of what he's going to say.
Exactly. Because it's like, why are you still getting butterflies after 4 months? Or even, like, a couple dates? It's like you should be... comfortable enough with this person to not get butterflies or like that.
You need to stop drinking beer.
Stop.
I'm gonna call you out every time.
You need to, those butterflies. And I mean, like, sometimes I get butterflies, like, if I really like the guy or whatever, then it's like anxiety, like, oh, I can't wait to meet him and I can't wait to see him again. That's another story. Right. But, like, what you're talking about, it's like why
people, like, when people are like, oh, we broke up because he just didn't give me butterflies anymore. No, that's a good thing. If you feel comfortable enough where...
You can burp and fart in front of the other person, oof.
That's not where I was going with that. But good for you.
Okay.
I was more saying along the lines of if you're comfortable with somebody enough where if they text you, you're not super nervous. Like, you shouldn't be super nervous when your significant other texts you. That just means you're walking on eggshells and you're on edge all the time.
Exactly, like, 100%.
What? I don't.
Like, why are you walking on eggshells on a guy you've seen 4 dates?
Where are you at?
Where are you at?
Where I'm at is I don't want to finish this White Claw.
Oh my god.
Because I cut back on drinking alcohol.
Okay. Drunk burping last night.
But no, I was not. Oh, I did that once.
That was like 3 times in that Snapchat.
No, it was once.
It was like twice.
It was once.
Twice at least. But you shouldn't get the... That was beside the point. What are other signs he's not into you? I would say like after a couple dates.
If he can't commit.
Definitely.
If he says like, I have commitment issues, I just don't know. Something like that. I also think that if men give you excuses like, oh, I'm not good enough for you, or you're too good for me.
That's so red flaggy, yeah.
It is red flag, and that's also a sign that he's just not into you. He's trying to find an excuse to gateway out of that situation.
Like, oh, you're too good for me, and you're supposed to be like, yeah, I am, bye.
Right.
Like, he's trying to, that's physical pushes away, yes. Yeah, like that kind of stuff, like, you're too good for me, or like, if he's bringing up that he's still on other dating sites and stuff, like, oh, I haven't, and it's like, why are you bringing that I'm not, or you're too good for me? Why are you bringing up that you're on Tinder still? Like, why?
Yeah.
So those are like active moments of trying to push you away.
Also, if he won't like define the relationship with you, if you guys have been going on steady dates for like 2 months.
I'm not saying you guys should be boyfriend, girlfriend, but there's like, there's like the gray area of making it exclusive. Yeah, like going on 3-4 dates. I'm going on 2 dates with another dude.
Right.
Don't get butthurt.
Right.
Because I'm called dating. Like, but then after like 4 or 5 dates, you've spent the night together, or like you've like, you know, like you've gone on like an adventure to Denver or whatever, like significant amount of time, and then you notice he's not getting exclusive. It's like, what? Like
withholding, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why aren't you furthering? You're trying to like further all these relationships. You should be picking and choosing who you want to talk to.
Right, which I'm also a firm believer of, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I don't think that you should invest all your time in one person, especially if you're on dating apps. You need to keep your options open, because what are the fucking chances that this one guy that you're interested in is going to be the same one that's equally as interested in you?
Exactly.
It's like, pretty fucking rare.
Yeah, there's that gray area where it's like hard to like gauge when to become exclusive and then when to delete Tinder and stuff. Because say I'm going on 3-4 dates with a dude, I'm probably still gonna have Tinder and stuff. But then if it starts to get where like I'm hanging out with him after work, we're going like we're hanging out multiple times a week or whatever, then you start like muting notifications, or you stop using it so much, and then like after a little longer, then you delete. There's like that gray area of like when to like stop responding to other boys, and you're clearly putting more time into one dude,
right? And
then getting exclusive to the next level of like almost DTRing, where you start deleting stuff.
Right. So let's flip it, okay? Onto us. So what are things that you do when you're not interested in somebody?
I've been trying to get better about just being honest.
Me too.
Like after a couple first dates I've had recently, they'll be like, oh, I had a great time. And I'm like, it was a great time. I really enjoy you. But I just don't, like, I've said, what was the last time I said that? Like, he was like, oh, it was a great time, blah, blah, blah. I'd love to see you again. And I was like, yeah, it was a really great date. I love the restaurant. Like, I just didn't feel anything there. Like, I've said that. Like, there was no spark. Like, I'm trying to be more honest. But before that, I would just kind of, like, hope it would fizzle out, in all honesty, because that's an easy way out. Because like on their side or on like the other side, if the person isn't responding a lot, like it's like, oh, we had a first date on Monday and then we didn't text all Tuesday, and then I try to like text you on Wednesday and you're like, hey, and it's like, hey, what's up? And it's like, oh, not much. You're kind of like, you should get the vibe,
right,
and then just like jump ship.
Ghost.
Yeah. You should just get the vibe and just like let it be.
So I am also trying to be honest as well. Well, kind of, because, you know, I'm like taken, not taken. I don't know. It's complicated. But with one of the guys that I had matched with, we hadn't met in person or anything like that. And the reason we didn't meet in person is because I wasn't interested enough to commit to a date.
Right.
And so he would like text me constantly all the time. Like I could tell he was interested, but I was not.
Right.
And so then he texted me and he was like, do you just want to quit talking? And I told him, I was like, the connection that we have is not the connection that I was looking for. I wish you the best.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like, and sometimes you have to be on the giving side of that. Just blunt. Just be honest.
Right.
Because like if you're like I did this to one dude or whatever a while back. We were like, we matched on Tinder and then we were like Snapchatting a lot and stuff. And then he just started kind of like being like like cold shoulderish, like one word responses, like no face in the pictures of Snapchat and stuff. And I was like cleaning house on all my boys on my Snapchat, and I sent the same thing to like a bunch of people, and I was like, I just not feeling it. Like clearly we haven't met in person. It's just not working. You're not giving me like the energy I feel like I'm giving to you. And I was just blunt with it. Like let's just end it before it gets like dragged along. And he sent back and he was like, I'm so sorry. Like I really do want to try to build this. I'm just such a like a bitch at work, and I just have a bad mood a lot when I leave work. And then like for like a couple weeks after that, he was good. He was like starting conversations. He was sending multiple sentences and stuff like that. So like sometimes you just have to be honest, because if I sent that to somebody, or if I got that, say somebody said like, I just don't feel like the spark is there. I just don't feel like we're a match for each other. I'd be like, okay, like I understand. Like I wish you the best. I wish I could have been better so we could have furthered it.
I would never say that. I would never.
What would you say if somebody said that to you? Like, I just don't feel like the spark is there. I don't feel like we're meant to be.
I would say, thank you for telling me. I appreciate your honesty, and I wish you the best of luck. Done.
Yeah, more
I
of
would
like a...
never in my life say, I wish I would be better for you. You were always better
Got a point.
for you, not for anybody else.
Got a point.
You don't downgrade yourself to play up people's
You just
feelings.
ain't they cup of tea. That tea ain't trying to make themselves better to satisfy this Kolsch. This Princess Yum Yum ain't trying to make itself better for you,
Literally.
Joslyn. So why should it apologize? Because it is
Exactly.
them. It is you need to be unapologetically you.
Exactly.
And that's what I fully believe. That's why, like, I put my Instagram on, like, my Tinder profiles and stuff, because I have pictures from, like, Halloween. I have pictures in my, like, heels and stuff like that. So it's, like, that's me and stuff like that. So it's, like, if you want to go look at it, feel free.
Right.
Like, what are you watching? I'm like, Drag Race.
Right.
I'm watching RuPaul fucking Drag Race.
Right.
And if they don't like it, then they don't like me. And it's, like, if they're not into it, like, if I'm texting some country hick... It's a little of a derogatory term, do you think?
I'm down with it.
Yeah, so like if I'm texting some country man, cowboy boots, works on a farm, and he's like, oh, what TV show are you watching? And I'm like, oh, RuPaul's Drag Race. And he's like, oh, I'm not really into that. And then we continue to talk, and then we go on dates. He doesn't let it, like, abide by him. If a boy doesn't like your tattoos or whatever, and he makes that like a deciding factor, then clearly you guys aren't meant to be. But if he just doesn't prefer tattoos on girls, but he likes you for you, then it's not that big of a deal. It's just on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does it bother you?
Right.
And if it's a 7, jump ship.
Right.
If it's a 1 that he watches Oprah, then what the fuck is the point? Let him watch Oprah. You can watch fucking the news, and then you guys live together.
Right.
Yeah, you guys don't have to be like 100% matches.
So something that I used to do whenever I wasn't interested in, before I started being honest, this is fucked up, but I would use the excuse, I'd be like, I'm just really busy with work, and I have a lot going on in my personal life, and I'm just not there mentally to put in the effort into this relationship.
And if somebody says that, and you guys met on Tinder, the fuck are you doing on Tinder?
Yeah.
I hate that shit. Why are you on Tinder if you can't make the time?
Right.
Before you download that app, you need to look at your fucking schedule. You need to see that you work 5 days a week, and on your 2 days off, you need to visit family. You ain't got time for dating.
No.
There's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to fill certain things before you get to love. And if like you're not seeing your family or you're working too much, then you're filling certain spheres before a relationship.
Right.
Like there's a right time for everything. And if you don't have the time to go on dates, like if you're so busy with work, you shouldn't be on Tinder.
No.
And that's a good sign. Or that's a sign he isn't into you. If he doesn't even have the time to see you for like 2 hours for dinner or lunch,
right,
then it's like, where's the time going to be when you guys are dating?
Right.
You're never going to see him. He's going to be at work 24/7.
Another thing too is if a guy that you're seeing, and like let's say you're casually dating, haven't made it exclusive, if he's not giving you what you need, what makes you think he's going to give you that when you're exclusive?
Exactly.
He is him. He is giving what he is giving. Mm-hmm. And if you aren't getting text back, if he's not, like if he's liking other girls' Instagram pictures and that stuff,
if things are bothering you before you're exclusive, then
what makes you think he's going to change?
Yeah, they're going to bother you even more when he's yours, quote unquote.
Right.
Exactly. So it's like if he's not texting you back a lot, he's just not a texter. Some people aren't. Some people just aren't texters.
I think it's bullshit.
I think it's bullshit too, because one, you have a smartphone. If you have a fucking Motorola X where you have to T9 text or whatever, I get it. For sure. But if you have like an iPhone, it's 2020. If you're not that into texting...
It just means, okay, if a guy, I'm just going to be blunt and honest with you. If a guy says, oh, I'm just not that big of a texter, it just means he just doesn't want to text you.
Accurate. I believe that.
Because you know that he's fucking texting Whitney down the street.
Exactly. Yeah, because some people are more of like phone callers, but then still text or whatever.
But it's still communication in some form.
Exactly. So it's like, call me then.
Right. If you don't like texting, then call me
once a day. Or make the time to meet me in person. Because it's like, if you don't like to, like sometimes I am like, I don't want to get to know you over text. I want to meet you. So like we text for like 24, 48 hours and I'm like, okay, what are you doing later in the week? Let's get lunch. It can be super casual just to get to know each other. I feel that, but that's a sign that he is into you.
Yeah.
But if he's not texting, he's not making signs to get to know you, he's not into you.
Right. So, like, if a guy is not that big of a texter, but then he calls you every night when he gets off work, I feel like that's acceptable.
That is acceptable.
But I feel like...
because his form of communication is different. He wants to do voice to voice.
Right. So I feel like that's different. But I feel like if he's not texting, not calling, not FaceTiming, not doing anything that you need to feel like you're an importance in his life,
he's not that into
you. He just doesn't like you.
Right. Exactly. And it's a hard fact. But it's like there's a million fish in the sea.
Literally.
Like, why are you trying to harbor this one dude?
You think like fucking James is gonna be your future husband when he won't text you back. Move on, let it go. He doesn't like you. Right. Don't dwell on it.
Find the signs early.
Just accept the fact that not everybody's gonna like you. Matthew and I say that constantly, all the time.
You're not everyone's cup of tea.
You're not everyone's cup of tea. And
stop trying to make friends with everybody at work.
Right.
Stop trying to be everybody's little cup of tea when you're dating. Stop trying to bend your likes and wants to each guy you're seeing. Because if he doesn't like you for your...
Really quickly, let me go on a tangent really quick. So, did you know that almost all females, a very high percentage of females, women, thank you, a very high percentage of women adjust the way that they do things based on the person that they're with. So, specifically kissing.
Yeah.
So, and I heard that and I read it and I thought about it and I was like, you know what, you're fucking right. Because every man that I've been with, I've adjusted the way that I kiss because of how they kiss.
Yeah.
That's not right. You shouldn't adjust yourself.
Right.
You should be like, I don't know, I'm a fucking power bitch. So I'm like, I'm not going to do that anymore. Now, if I'm making out with somebody, I'm going to be like, no, you need to do this. You need to stop doing this.
And if they don't want to bend, not cup of tea.
No, they just don't like you.
Yeah, and that's a pretty big sign. If you're at a scale of 1 to 10, if how they kiss bothers you enough that it like breaks the mood or whatever, then clearly it's not working. And it can be little stuff like that, like how they kiss, how they hug, how they sit in chairs or whatever. If it bothers you so much, then why are you letting it bother you so much? If you can't get over it, then clearly it's not meant to be, kind of stuff.
I agree.
So it's like if he can't kiss the way you want to kiss and it's bothering you, then clearly it's not meant to be.
Right.
But if it's like, oh, he doesn't kiss right, but he's like a perfect person, like, whatever, it's a 1 out of 10 bothering me.
Whatever.
You can live with it.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a big deal. But if it's bothering you enough to bring it up to somebody, that's 9 times out of 10. If one of my friends is like, he doesn't wear deodorant, and it's like, it bothers you enough to bring it up to your friend. 1, bring it up to him. Maybe he just forgets. Or 2, if it's bothering you that much and he just doesn't do it, then you can't live with him.
Right.
So then why live with him?
I don't know. There's just things that everybody should recognize from the get-go and just take the love blinders off and try to realize that, like, you know, maybe not everyone is for you and you're not for everyone. Yes, I burped. It was a White Claw burp, but at least I did it once. You've done it 12,000 times.
I suppose.
You literally drink 1 sip of that beer and you were like,
I'm my boy. But yeah, you're just not everyone's cup of tea.
And at the end of the day, if you're not getting what you need, leave, because he just doesn't like you.
Exactly. And if you're not getting what you need, you're not getting what you need. Go find it somewhere else.
Exactly, because there's I tell this to people all the time that are in unhealthy relationships. I'm like, if you're not getting what you need from this man in this relationship, there's 10 million guys out there that are going to give you that plus more.
Exactly.
Because they want to, not because you have to ask them to.
Exactly.
You should never have to ask people for something that you need.
Exactly. Like, they should read into you. They should try to get to know you. They should realize that your love languages are gifts of affirmation and physical touch.
Gifts of affirmation.
What did I say?
It's gifts or words of affirmation.
Oh.
Fucking idiot.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, they should read into that by body language, by getting to know you. Yeah, they should be perceptive. They should read into you. They should get to know you, and they should figure that out.
Right.
You shouldn't always have to tell somebody what you need all the time. And I mean, that's true. You should tell some people what you want because some things are hard to read.
Right.
But like, if they can't pick up on anything,
right.
Are they blind?
Right.
Like, do they not get it?
So if you're like, hey babe, I wish you would like my Instagram post more. And he's like, oh, okay, I didn't know that was something you needed. And then he starts to do it, that's fine. But if you're like, hey babe, I really wish you wouldn't do this. Or, hey babe, I really wish you would be okay with me having black hair.
Right.
Then that's an issue.
Because that's more of your identity. We were talking about this on like Tinder matches or whatever. If you don't like somebody's hair, or you're like, oh, those glasses are ugly. That's part of them.
Right.
Why?
So if you match with a guy that has long hair and you're like, I don't like long hair, but maybe if I get with him, he'll cut it. Why are you trying to change people?
Exactly. And it's like, if you don't like his long hair, you don't like him.
Pass.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I don't really like those clothes he's wearing. Pass.
Right.
Left.
So like somebody's not going to swipe on me, which I'm not on Tinder right now, but like at one point, if somebody's going to swipe on me saying that I have black hair, tattoos, piercings, I dress in all black
and
almost
they don't
all the
like
time,
it, it's like,
and they don't like the
right?
goth look, then it's like, why are you swiping right? So that you can change my hair blonde.
Exactly.
So that I can laser off my tattoos and wear yellow sundresses.
Absolutely
I think the fuck not.
Absolutely not. Exactly. And it's like, some people are like, oh, I don't like believe in like physical like Tinder or whatever. Like, I don't like, but it's like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I get at the point. Like, physical attraction is number one.
Yeah, people don't want to seem shallow, but you have to be attracted to the person that you want to be with.
And it's like some people, like some random people I bet they're in the world, like don't really care about physical personality, but it's like the world we live in, it's human nature. Like, you're looking at the other person for good genes, for reproduction. That's basic biology. Like, you want to see the person, you want to see high bridge rouses or like high eyes or big eyes and like good healthy traits.
Right.
And that's evolved into physical attractiveness. So it's like that's why Tinder is good and bad in the same way, because you're just judging them by their cover.
Right.
But if you can't get past the cover, you're not going to enjoy the book.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That was a good metaphor.
Thank you.
Oh my God, I love that.
It's probably somewhere else. But yeah, if you're walking down Barnes and Nobles and the book cover's ugly and it's bothering you that much, you clearly won't be able to get to the book.
Right.
Like the needs and stuff about the book.
Right.
So it's like, if you can't, and it's like physical, yeah. So that's why Tinder is like good in a way, because it gets the sight out of it. You're like, oh, they're attractive, let's get to know them.
Right.
Exactly.
I don't know. All I'm saying is, at the end of the day, he probably doesn't like you.
Honestly.
Cheat before you get cheated on. No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely not.
I'm just kidding. I'm not condoning cheating.
Yeah, and if he's cheating on you, he's just not that into you.
No.
Don't try to harbor the relationship, because clearly he's looking somewhere else to get off.
Or something that you're not providing him.
Exactly. And it's like, if he's cheating, if he's talking to other girls, he's not that into you.
Bye.
Break it off. Don't try to salvage that shit. It's broken goods. Pawn that shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, just he's not that into you. It's the hard wake-up call.
Go watch that movie. He's just not that into you.
He's just not that into you.
It's on Netflix. I know it is because I watched it the other day. It's called He's Just Not That Into You. There's a lot of good, like Scarlett Johansson, Bradley Cooper, Drew Barrymore, lots of good characters in the movie. And it basically breaks down what we're saying is like, if he's not doing this, he just doesn't like you. If he's not doing this, he doesn't like you. So just like accept the fact, move on.
Exactly.
It's okay if they don't like you.
Exactly. Find the person that loves you and likes you for every aspect.
Right.
Because if they don't like your hair, fuck them.
Exactly.
That was a good episode. Thank you guys for joining us. I feel like we're getting not too comfortable, but have you seen all those TikToks where it's like people are getting too comfortable on TikTok because they're always half naked?
Yeah.
I feel like we are getting a little more comfortable with talking. We're getting more like casual, more fluid and stuff, less like, less theater in it, so to say. So just continue to watch, continue us to de-evolve into our messy, sinful selves.
Literally.
Because in about episode 26, we're going to be telling you guys everything.
Literally.
We're going to be like, it's 6 a.m. I just got off of a hookup. You want to hear every detail about it?
Right.
So stay tuned for that day. It'll be a great time. hopefully we'll have more tipsy talks.
Yeah,
Hopefully
that was
we'll
fun.
have like cocktail time. We'll invite a friend. We'll get a little more tipsy, have a couple drinks in us. Shots, yeah. Every like 25 minutes we'll take a shot or something like that. Or something stupid.
Yeah, that would be fun.
But yeah, try to add different aspects, different spheres of how our podcast lives.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, that'd be a good time. But as always, like,
comment,
subscribe, and
share with a friend.
give us some goddamn topics.
Motherfuckers, if you don't give us fucking topics,
right?
I swear to fucking God, I will hack your IP address. I'm not actually gonna do that. Don't fucking sue me or report me.
Okay,
but
Oliver.
no, Oliver. But no, seriously, like, give us topics, please.
Yeah, John, give us a goddamn topic, or I'm gonna shit on your Mini Coop again.
I know that you fucking listen, so give us some fucking topics.
Yes, and sisters, I know you're not listening, but if I force you to listen, give us a goddamn topic.
Also, I know my mom listens, so...
Yeah, Karen.
Linda.
Oh God, that's a Karen name. Okay, Linda. Give us some topic. I know you're listening to this at work.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to be doing paperwork.
Yeah, do your paperwork, staple those files. Give us a goddamn topic, Linda.
Linda. Love you, Mom.
Yeah, Mom. Love you too. Okay, but thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.